Hi, I'm DigiDino from Jinx Games, and this tutorial is about background scrolling. Let's get started. But first, I would like to thank everyone who purchased my Playmaker samples on the asset store. I would also like to ask if you could rate my asset and maybe give a review. Again, thank you. Okay, first let me open the scene. And this is my Playmaker sample asset. And you can see I have this puller package missing. So I can just click on this or on get, and then it gives a message here, and puller package is missing, please get it from the ecosystem. Now when I press OK, it will open the ecosystem, and if I don't have the ecosystem installed, it will open a website where you can download it, and it also searches automatically for what I need. So this is only on the latest version now, and let's get this package. And the puller is actually to pull items instead of creating and destroying, which is much better for performance. So let's import this. Okay, and now you can see I have no problem anymore, so I can get this package here. So it's gonna import this the first time and then open the scene, and the next time, if it's already installed, you can just click on it, it will automatically go to the scene. So let's get started with this, and let me play it first. And I have 3 different styles that I made here, and one is using texture offset. That's the first one, and as you can see, it's just a single object, and the image is scrolling on this. Then I have the translate reset, and that's just going to look for a certain position and then reset the position. So I have 2 similar images next to each other, so you cannot see here that it switches to the other back. And the third one is using set position, and this is actually the most advanced one, and it has a big advantage that I can use multiple different images. So okay, so you can see this is work. Oh, I forgot my car, so I can move also around with my car, of course, and as you can see, it goes up and down, and that's just it. Okay, so well, I'm not going to go too deep into this car here, so I'm just using an axis event and just look for up and down, and then I'm going to check the position. Then I have the positions preset into an array, and then I'm just going to get this and move from here to here, and yeah, that's just about it. It's all inside the asset if you want to look more into this, and it's documented, so if you want, you can check that out. And I also have here something to rotate the car, so as you could see, it moves a little bit to the right, well, or it rotates a little bit to the right and rotate back straight while moving to the other lanes. So I'll just show you quickly what I have here, and for the other side, for those who don't wish to buy the asset. Okay, so that's for the car, and now we come to the important part. So we have the scroll types, and I just have some events here for my buttons to trigger, and I'm triggering them with a simple on click event. So type 1, let me just show you this quickly. So I'm gonna drop this in, Playmaker FSM send event, and then type 1, And now when I click that button, it's gonna send the event here, and then it will select type 1. It will just activate and deactivate the other ones. So type 1 is activating this and deactivating the other ones, and the same for this. It's gonna activate the second one and the third one. Okay, let's look to the first one. On this one I have a quad, and on this quad I have my image here, and it's a default image. It's not a sprite, as on a quad you cannot put a sprite as it is a 3D object. So let's look to the actions here now. I have a float add, and I have on this float add a movement variable, and I'm gonna add 0.4 per second on this movement variable, and I'm gonna set every frame on because I want to do this every frame, of course. And important is per second because I don't want 0.4 to be added every frame, but only per second. Okay, then I have my set texture offset, and game object is to use owner as my quad is there. Then material index 0, and name texture is underscore main text. This should not be changed, else it will not work. Then the offset I'm setting with the movement, and I have every frame on, so it's gonna update every frame. And let me just play this. Okay, and you can see it's moving now. So it's setting the offset, and you can also see here that it's turning around. So that's the first one. Now let's look to the second one. On the second one here, I have these two images, and I have the second image as a child, and they are right next to each other. And let me just play this first. When it plays, it moves and it goes to a certain position and then resets back to that position. And that's all it does. It just moves to here and then goes back here and moves again. And that's why I need two the same images, and they cannot differ, else you can see that it's jumping. So this must be the same image. Okay, so let's go to the actions here. So I have a translate to move them in the X direction -4. Do this per second every frame, and fix update. Then I'm getting the position. So I'm getting this current position from this object, and also every frame. And then I have my float compare, and I'm comparing to this position, so -14.45. And well, you have to check that manually because it depends on the size of your image, of course. And so that you have to try and find out the right position, and once you have it, you can set this position. And I can show you here also. So I'm now on -4.45, and when I add 10, so you can see nothing happened here, but you could see that it jumped here. So on this position, it's going to jump back to the first position, and that's going to be 4.45. And as you could see, when I put it back in the game, you cannot see anything. Only in the scene view, there you can see that it changed. And that's just about it. So once I reach here the -14.45, so equal or less, so in each frame there is always a possibility this will not be exactly the same, so that's why we need equal and less. And then we have the set position here to set it back to -4.45. And that's all. So this is quite simple also, and works good. and you can have multiple different images set as long as you have the last image from that and the first image that will be visible is the same. Then it's okay, then it starts again from the same picture. So in between you can have other ones, and to make a larger track, so that is possible. And that's it for the second one. And now let's look to the third one. In this one you can see I'm using this pooler that we got, and let me explain a little bit how this pooler works. So I have my prefab here, and I have a name of the pool. So this is to reference with the other actions if I need to get something or if I need to put something back. And then I have my initially pooled objects, and this is so when this action is activated, it's gonna create a certain amount of objects. So if I set this to 10, then 10 of these prefab clones will be made, and if I set it to 1, only 1 will be made. But I can grow on, and so if I have only 1 here while the game is playing and I need another one, I can make additional ones, and they will stay also. They will not be destroyed anymore, but they will be used also in the pool. And pooling is, instead of creating and destroying, they are activating and deactivating the objects, so they stay in the scene but can be seen. And this is a lot better for performance. So for the initially pools, so the more you're gonna initially make, especially in the start of the game, it might take longer to load the game, but while playing the game it's a lot faster, so that's a big advantage. And especially with big amounts, this is really good. So then I also have here the max pooled objects, and this is just to limit. So let's say if I set to 100, there is maximum 100 objects to be made, so that's the limit for. And so I do the same for this track 2, and let me show you here. Track 1 is this image and track 2 is this image, so you can see the plants are different. Okay, let's get back here. So that's how the pooler pool works, to initially pool them. And then I have my pooler spawn, and this is to spawn an object. So this works similar to the create object, and I can spawn to a spawn point. So this is an object, so I can spawn to an object, or I can spawn to a preset position or a variable position, of course. And I also can set the rotation. And also when I spawn an object, I can store it in a variable, so I can do some things with it. Then I have this pooler destroy stored, and this is to destroy the object, but it's not destroying, it's just disabling it actually. So maybe the naming is a bit wrong for this, but yeah, it's like create and destroy, but then it's spawned and then despawned actually should be the good name for this. But that's how it works. So it gets activated and deactivated, and when it needs again another one, it will be activated again, and so they are reused. So that's all about the pooler. Now let's get back to the background. I'll show you first my prefabs here. So I'm gonna drop one in, and you can see there is this image sprite and also a trigger here. And so I don't need the trigger on the whole field, only here on the left side. I will show you after why. Then my pivot point is set to the left, and this is important because when I want to place it, I have another child object here, and that's called end position, and that's going to be on the end of my image. And so if I spawn a new image, I want that image to go to this position. So I'm going to take the position of this, and then when I place it, I want the pivot point to reach here and not in the center, because else the picture would start in the center. And you can simply do this in the sprite editor, just set pivot to the left, or if you want to go to a different direction, you can set it up, down, or right. So that depends on your setup. So that's track 1, and track 2 is gonna be similar. It's just the same, but just a different kind of picture. As you can see, the plants are different, and on each object I have an FSM also with a translate, and that's just to let them move. So I have here my move speed, but it's still to 0, but I'm gonna feed that afterwards. I will show you in a minute. And space world, and per second, every frame, and fix update. So that's the prefabs. Now go back here to the actions. So after I've set my pools, I'm gonna spawn my first object, and let me play this quickly. So here is my first and my second object. So I have here this pooler spawn, and okay, let's just put it up so it's clearer. So I'm gonna spawn track 1. So this is the name of the pool. So I'm getting this from here, pool 1 or track 1. Then I'm not gonna set it to a spawn point because I don't have any spawn point yet. So I am setting this position manually, and I set this to -5, and then I have my rotation to none, so it doesn't rotate anywhere. And then I'm storing this object because I want to set this float for the movement speed. And also I've set this as a parent to these roads, but this is not needed. This just looks nicer, so you can skip this if you want. Then, so the set FSM float is gonna give this move speeds variable this value as -4, and that's for the movement speed. Then I'm spawning the second one, so track 02, and I'm positioning this also manually to 5 because I know that's the right position. And also again I store the object, set parent, which is not needed, but it just looks nicer. And then I have my get child here, and here I'm getting the child from this second one, and that is going to be this end position. So the child name must also be the same always on this, so it's easier to get. And so I'm getting this end position later on to use to place the next one. So then we're gonna go to the trigger, and let me just show you here. I have this trigger also here, so let me play this. Once the image reaches here, then on the image I also have this trigger. So then when it reaches here, it gets removed and places a new one, and that's just looping here. So that's my trigger, and let me show you here. So on trigger stay, you can also use on trigger enter, but I tend to use the on trigger stay. And then I'm sending an event remove object, and also I'm gonna store the object. And I want to store this because in the next one I want to destroy or actually despawn the object here. So that's the prefab here gonna be despawned, and once it's despawned I'm gonna get this random string, and it's gonna be track 1 or track 2. So that's for these pools, track 1, track 2. and this is to spawn one of these two prefabs. So I'm getting this name of the pool, then spawn point is going to be this last object. So the last object is this end position, and so it's going to spawn on that position, and then it's going to store also the object that I have spawned. Then I'm using set parent to parent this object again here, but that's not really needed, so that depends on you. Then I have get child to get this end position again on this new object that was spawned. So again, for later on then to spawn again the next object there. Then I have this set FSM float, and that is just to set again the movement speed on this new spawned prefab. And that's just goes back here, and then it just loops and loops again. And so let me play it one more time. So you can use this in a random, you can also use a certain sequence for these. Let me just take this out, the breakpoint. This I like most to use, as it has a lot of flexibility. Also, this can be used when you are moving your player. So instead of moving the background, you can keep them idle, but then you put a trigger behind your player, and that would be then to despawn and spawn new ones. So, but I might make another tutorial for that. So I think that we have everything done now. Thank you for watching. If you liked the tutorial, please like the video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can support my work by becoming a patron at Patreon, or donate me with PayPal, or purchase my assets on the asset store. You can find the links in the descriptions below.